Right. What a shambles this is. What an absolute shambles. It's not telling me anything about whether you're on, whether you're not. Hang on a sec. Hey up. I've got a very special guest. I'm going to bring in a professional, ladies and gents, just to
Hello.
help us out a little bit. Now
Hey,
then, mate.
what's happening?
Oh, chuff knows, mate. Chuff knows, to be honest. I don't know. I've had a bit of a nightmare, to be fair. I'm at Caravan Hunter, and it's just all gone Pete Tong. So can't get a signal. Can't get a video up properly. Doesn't tell me whether people are in it. It looks like there's 3 people in at a minute. I don't blame the rest of them for not coming back, to be honest. Yeah.
So,
Oh my God, Scott. Yes. The channel's emerging. Not officially, obviously. But yeah. So how are you, mate? Thanks for jumping on last minute.
no problem at all, mate. I'm grand, thank you very much. Very, very happy. Didn't expect to be on a live video with you tonight, but it's
No.
here.
Yeah, all good things come to good people, though, mate, don't they? So, always expect the unexpected, particularly when I'm thinking and I need a pro to come and pull me out of the mire.
Are you in
I
the car?
thought, I'm in the car, mate. I'm in the car.
Fantastic. What do you need to know, mate?
Well, I need to know your thoughts on Burnley, really, because I'm supposed to be doing a Burnley preview, and I'm sweating because I haven't even been able to get online. So, in terms of my prep work, I'm throwing it over to a pro who will try and help me stop sinking. If you could, that'd be much appreciated.
Right. Okay. So, what do you want to tell you? What do you want to tell you? What's gonna happen?
So we know that this on paper should be the toughest game of the season. Going to champions elect, they will undoubtedly want to put one over on us.
Yeah.
Because of the 5-2. We were the only team to embarrass them this year, let's be right. They've been so consistent, so ruthless, but they've also been on lash all weekend. So what are we thinking?
I
What
don't
are we thinking?
and I think they've had a few beers after the game. They've celebrated a little bit, and then Vinny's got them back down to business.
I think so.
They're going to they're going to be well up for it. Like you said, that 5-2, we absolutely annihilated them in that second half. So they're going to want to put it right. And I think I said in the prediction video, and tonight I said that I think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be 0-0, and it's going to be us just trying to get something out of the game. I know that's daft because Burnley score so many goals, but I just feel like we're going to set up to try and not be beaten in this game. And if we can come away with 1 point, then I'm more than happy with that. It's a free hit for me.
Yeah, I said similar actually last time because I hate saying stuff like free hits, particularly when we should have been challenging for this league title, really. So we should be a match for anybody. But so do you think he's going to go a little bit more conservative then? You think maybe Tommy comes out, Ollie goes in? What do you think? Because he's alluded to changes, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think Ollie could and maybe should go in just to kind of steady the midfield. I don't think Tommy comes out. I think we just go I think McAtee might come out. I think Norwood could go in for McAtee, and we could go as we were doing before. A bit boring for my liking. Do you know when we've been away to teams and we've played McBurney and Illiman kind of totally isolated, which I don't. But I can see that happening. I can see them playing Sander, Norwood in the middle, and then Tommy Doyle. I wouldn't be against playing George at left wing back as well because he offers that defensive solidity. But at the same time, both Bogle and Lowe aren't great defensively, so it's whichever one you want to pick. But obviously, you'd always rather see Baldock on the right because of obviously he's right-footed, and you always see him coming back in on that right like he did on Friday. But I think we just need to be as solid as possible. Let's not try and go out there and go toe-to-toe with them because we know how good they are attacking. Actually, in that first half against Burnley earlier in the I thought that Burnley were really, really good in that first half. I was worried coming out for the second half, but we completely nullified them by how good we were. So it's not going to be the same. And I think we're going to try and do the same thing as we did with the big balls into the box from corners, because we're the only team that's undone them like that. And I can see us trying to use that as kind of like the first line of attack, just get the box and get our big lads up there for winning some headers in their box, because it's happened once, it can happen again.
Yeah, I think so. It's got to be McBurney in for sharp on it this time. And, you know, like you said, just sit on him a little bit, really, where we can. And Jackie long throw, pumping them long throws into the box and seeing where it gets us. So I have to say, and you know my thoughts on Jackie Robinson. I've spoken about him on Ramble, and I've spoken to you personally about him. I'm not his biggest fan, but since that Burnley game, and he's had a few rucks in between, but he has got better and better, and I have to say that, and it still wouldn't be my first choice, particularly if we're going to get promoted. But I have to give him credit. I wouldn't sort of fear him being in team now like I would have done in first game, if you like. I think he's come on leaps and bounds, really. So he's always got a mistake in him. I'm not sort of discounting that, but he doesn't quite get me blood pressure as high as he used to do. Let's be right, to be fair. So yeah, I think it could go one of two ways. This I'm with you. I think they're definitely going to turn up. If we think they're just going to be, you know, still half cut, I think Company's a savvy operator. You could tell how much it stung that game in that post-match interview. I was thinking, oh, well, we're not going to get out of Turf Moor just because we are the game he wants to win. So how do you think that affects if we go to Turf Moor tomorrow and we get turned over and Borough have beaten Bristol City and Luton have beaten Blackpool? How do you think that affects our mentality?
I don't think it does at all. I think we've been through that many ups and downs in the past kind of 2-3 months that I think we know how to bounce back from. We've not been turned over by anyone really this season, and if we do get turned over by him, I can see Hecky just like Sonny. Doesn't matter. It's the team that are way ahead of anybody else. Let's get back down to business. We've got a lot of winnable games coming up as well, because other than West Brom, and West Brom aren't that good anymore. They're all not easily winnable games, because no game's easy in this league. But I think that looking on paper, we should be winning most of those games. So I think he'll be like, it was just a one-off. Don't worry about it, lads. Let's crack on, because, Burnley are very, very good. But I can't see us getting turned over. I don't think we will. I think there's a possibility of possibly losing 1-0 or 2-0 or something like that. But we just don't seem... When we're on it, we don't lose games by a lot of goals. Even kind of like the Blackburn game where we got overrun, we still only lost 1-0. And big game, we've conceded a few goals, but we've also scored a few goals. So we don't normally get battered by anyone. And I don't think we'll get battered in this game.
I think most people, like obviously media has been all over Burnley and Borough, and that you can see why, because their attacking flair is a sight to behold, and it's frightening to a degree. But I think the less fashionable Sheffield United, if you like, I think most would agree with probably most solid defence. We don't always think so with Jackie Robinson lining up there, but in terms of the overall package of the defence, it's very, very well drilled now. Stuff like game management, you could just tell. I was saying as well earlier in week against Wigan, 1-0 against anybody normally, I would be squeaky bum and oh my God, we've got to score another. It felt really comfortable, and I weren't really thinking we were in any danger. You always are at 1, but I hope this is, I'm a pro, mate. You know that. Listen, what you do for your subscribers and your members, this is
right.
People are contributing to the channel now. I have to give them content. I'd prefer it with a touch higher quality, but I'd rather, come on and try and do my best for them. So
in the top now,
it looks
got like a transformer above your head.
I know. I noticed that just before I came on. It's like a monster's above me, isn't it? I'm all right. I'm not too scared.
You were talking about with how we controlled the game. I think that we were not getting overrun, but I think it was a little less controlled. And then we brought Norwood on. I thought that was the perfect thing to do because they were a little bit of squeaky bum time in that match. And then, like, you could feel it, the atmosphere a little bit nervy. And then we played about 5 to 10 passes between us all, and then the fans, you could tell, just chilled out and they were like, "Yeah, we do have this. We have got this." Because, like you say, when it's 1-0 against anyone, you think anything could happen. And yeah, they had one or two chances that were half chances, really.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
And it was nice to see us pass the ball around, control the game, and that's what Hickey's good at. He's good at controlling, getting our players controlling games rather than going hell for leather. And don't get me wrong, I think if we'd gone hell for leather most this season, I still think we'd have got promoted. But I like the way that he controls games, and we've won a lot of games 1-0 this season. And if we hadn't, then yeah, it might not be as easy as it is right now, or that the points difference might not be as great as what it is. He just knows how to kind of shut out games, and I like that about him.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's a really interesting perspective, that, because I've gone back and forth with Norwood. I thought, he's been one of those that's had a load of untapped potential. He blows hot and cold. He's inconsistent. But the beginning of this year, first 2/3 of this season, he was superb. Then he dropped off, and his form, really, it just fell through the floor, really. So when he came on against Wigan, I were looking at the negatives, really. I didn't think he really contributed in any way that sort of calmed us. I saw the couple of stray passes. I fell into that trap, if you like, the Norwood trap, where you think, why aren't you just keeping possession? There was one point where we were just trying to control it, keep the ball, must have been 90th minute or something, and he just flicks it, tries to do a fancy flick, and it goes out for their goal kick, and you're thinking, what's this all? I thought, I would sort of took a different perspective, and I thought McBurney was the clever sub to bring on, not just for his defensive headers and sort of things that he gets linked with, but he's good with his feet, and people sort of underestimate how good he is with his close control and intricate little passes in and around corners at box. And I thought he calmed the waters a little bit by sort of keeping the ball higher up the pitch and things like that. So it's interesting to get different perspectives on it, isn't it, really? So
yeah. I know which ball you mean about Noah, where he flicks it over the top to no one. But I felt like when he came on straight away, that calming influence just happened, and then it felt like he's now into the game. And I think that all the negativity around Norwood recently, and I think a lot of it's unjust, to be honest. I think when he wasn't playing well, like we always say, when Norwood don't play well, we don't play well. And I think that coincided with Tommy Doyle coming back in, and obviously McAtee playing a bit better and stuff. I think he's just got a little bit unlucky. And I think that with all the negativity around him, when he came on, he felt like he had to do something a bit special. And that's not always Norwood's game. Like, coming in at that point, he needed to be a calming influence. And like I said, I think he was. But at the same time, he probably thought, I need to do something special to get the fans back on side. And he did a couple of daft things. I think there were one chip that when he tried to chip the goalkeeper, which it could have gone in and it could have been fantastic, but it didn't. And then you're like, did you have to do that? But yeah, he did a few things that were a bit mind-boggling. But at the same time, I do stand by the fact that I think when he came on, it did calm people down, and we held onto the ball a bit longer than what we would have done if he weren't on the pitch.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. He does bring that sort, and he's doing predictable subs at the minute. We're bringing older heads on for, I think, young lads have sort of expended all their energy, if you like, and maybe protecting them as well for hopefully Monday, because I'd like to see both McAtee and Doyle start, but I'm not convinced they will. I can see it, but predictable isn't always a bad thing. As long as they're controlling the game, like you say, and keeping a lid on what we need them to do, then absolutely.
We don't need to do anything daft right now, though, do we? That's the thing.
Not at all.
We're not chasing. So if we need to win a game 1-0, that's absolutely fine with me.
My brother texted me after the game, we should have been winning that 3-4. It don't matter. The 3 points.
I think on another day as well, that first half, we would have come in 3 or 4-0 up.
Yeah.
Because Billy Sharp normally puts those away, the first half one, and probably the second half one early on. You've also got Illiman, who rounds the goalkeeper, and I think if he'd got a bit of a cooler head there, he just slots that past the defender.
Yeah.
And we had loads of other chances as well that we probably don't even mention because we're talking about those big chances that we should have put away. So I think it was just one of them days where we just didn't quite put away the chances that normally we would have done.
Yeah, agreed, mate. I'm just gonna have a look at a couple of comments, and then I'm gonna let you go because I appreciate you jumping on at last minute.
No worries.
Sheffield United YouTube royalty joining us. Appreciate it, mate.
No
Off
worries.
the top, what's the chances of signing Gibbs White back, and what fee do you think we'd pay for him? What do you think, mate?
Well, first of all, Forest got to go down, aren't they? If Forest don't go down, there's no way he's jumping ship, and we'd have to pay an absolute bomb for him. But if he's coming down, whether there's a buyout clause if Forest go down, that might be interesting to look into. But maybe it's just time to move on. I think it's hard to say that because I love Gibbs White, I love Dean Henderson, I love all these players that I'd like for us to sign, but I think we'll be paying a lot of money, and Forest won't let us have him for peanuts, especially how things have kind of happened since. So I think we'll be looking at 30 mil at least, because I know that people banned about the fact that it gets even like higher and higher. I think it was like 45 million people were saying. But it wasn't. It was 25 plus add-ons and stuff, and there's no way he's going to reach any of them add-ons because I think he's only scored like 2 goals and assisted like 6 goals or something like that in the Prem this season for him. So he's probably one of their better players or better performing players, but he's still not hitting those highs. So I think they've probably bought him for 25 million, and I think they'd at least want 30 million. So I don't think it's something that we'd really pay unless our mate goes comes in with all these billions.
Yeah,
I'm hoping
to have an update
on this channel, by the way.
No, well, we've sort of touched on him briefly. Love Dozy. I'm a Nigerian Blades supporter. I'm hoping to have an update on that soon, and we'll address that as and when we get that. So fingers crossed. Gibbs White, I don't think we'll get him, mate. I don't think it might be a shout if Illiman gets sold in summer as somebody. If Forest go down, I think they will go down. But I also think there's been enough talk about Gibbs White in the media and stuff like that that he'll end up higher than Sheffield United. He'll go to a West Ham or a Crystal Palace or somebody like that that's more established than us. And I think we could do without chucking a load of transfer fee money about. Let's just up that wage bill slightly and get in better players and try and build a foundation for me. But speaking of players, just last one before I'll let you go and I'll sign off myself. Did you see? And Scott's mentioned it here. I don't know if I touch it, will it come up?
You should do. Yeah.
Yes, there you go. Yes, thoughts on Dino having drinks with the lads this afternoon? What's your thoughts, mate?
I don't know what to say. I know Ben said that he asked him, is he coming back? And he said, we'll see. But actually, I could see that happening. It just depends on his wages because they've brought in Keylor Navas. If they stay up and they try and sign Keylor Navas, then fair play to him because he's
They've signed him, haven't they? I think they've signed Navas permanently. I might be wrong. I don't know enough about it.
Alone, but if they have, then that doesn't say much about Dean Henderson staying at or them trying to sign him next season. So I know he's been out for a while, but I'd love to see Dino back at Bramall Lane, and I think it could be possible. He's obviously still got the connections at the club because a lot of the players are still there that would play Premier League football with him and Championship football with him. So I'd love to see him back. I think it's highly possible. It just depends if we can afford the wages that he'll want because I think he's on about 100 grand at Man United. So I don't know. He's in the last year of his contract or something like that, and he's clearly said that he's not bothered about playing for Man United anymore. Which when he was he always wanted to go back to Man United and prove himself, and it's just not worked for him, has it?
No, it hasn't, mate. It hasn't, and he's gone out. He's pretty much had his pick, I think, of sort of mid to lower level Premier League clubs. Chosen Forest, then he got injured for 2 or 3 weeks, and they've replaced him, and he'll be raging, absolutely raging. So if he wants to come back and get some revenge, or stick it to Forest and come to one of their rivals for me, he'd be welcome back with open arms. Harsh on Wes, but I'm of the opinion that we'll say competition, to be kind. We'll say competition. So, okay, well, mate, thank you so much for jumping on tonight, last minute, to pull me out of a hole. It's really appreciated. I know we've sort of spoken about you coming on and doing a little bit more of an organised chat with me in future, so it's appreciated. We got there in the end. Thank you to everybody for joining and sort of sticking with us through my technical issues. As soon as I'm back home, this will all be sorted out. I'm just sort of trialing this new StreamYard. I quite like it, actually. Once it's up and running, it's quite good, isn't it? This is what you use, isn't it, Nick, on Sheffield United Way? But
yeah,
obviously you're higher brow. You're not on the free version, are you? I'm just testing the waters. So
yeah, it doesn't see me on in the top corner of my videos.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm sorry. There's there's levels to this game, isn't there, mate? So thanks again, mate, and thank you all for joining. Come on, you red and white wizards. Nick, do you want to do the honours?
Come on, you red and white wizards. Is that what you wanted me to say?
Oh my God, you're obviously an avid follower of the channel, because I finish it every video with the same thing. Up the blades.
Up the blades, of course.
Cheers, pal. Ta-ra.
Is it?